I was barely 15 minutes out from burying my father when I saw it a big white tent on my front lawn, like a wedding was about to happen. Except nobody gets married with foreclosure signs and strangers pawing through your mother's rose garden. My boots were still covered in Texas dust, the same red grit that buried my old man 2 days earlier. I'd been on the road for hours, running on coffee and grief, just wanting to sit on the porch we built together and breathe. That porch wasn't just wood and nails, it was history. Our ranch had been in the Monroe family since 1893, passed from calloused hand to calloused hand. It was never for sale, not for any price. But as I crested that final hill, there it was. Estate auction public welcome. Staked in my soil like a slap in the face. Red, white, and blue pennants fluttered from my fence posts. SUVs and luxury sedans lined the gravel drive like we were hosting a gala, and standing dead center clipboard in hand was Linda Greaves, the HOA president from the adjacent development, who always acted like she ran the county. Linda wore this blinding white pantsuit and a smile so fake it should have come with a warning label. She spotted my truck and didn't even blink, just kept giving orders to her goons, 2 guys in matching polo shirts arranging chairs like this was some kind of neighborhood barbecue. I parked right in front of her little circus and stepped out still in my funeral suit tie tight around my neck like a noose. "Cal Monroe," she said, "all syrup and condescension. We tried to reach you, but with your father passing and all. Well, the association had no choice. No choice about what I asked, even though I already knew." She tapped her clipboard like it was a royal decree. Back HOA dues, unpaid fines, over $92,000 including legal fees. This auction is sanctioned by the community and supported by a court order. I didn't answer her, just looked past her at the auctioneer setting up on the makeshift stage by my barn, the same barn my father built in '74 with his bare hands. They'd even set up porta potties like they were planning to stay a while. It wasn't just disrespectful. It was war. See, the HOA line ends 2 miles before our fence starts. My father made sure of it. We're ranchers, not residents. But Linda had always wanted our land, and I guess she figured with Dad gone she could push her luck. "Get your people off my land," I said quietly. She laughed. "Cal, I don't think you understand. This isn't your land anymore." I stepped forward. Her 2 hired security guys blocked the drive behind me with plastic sawhorses and a cheap nylon rope. They looked like ex-gym teachers playing mall cop. One of them had the nerve to ask me if I was on the list. "My name's carved into the foundation of that house," I told him. "Now move." He smirked. "Not what our papers say." Buddy Carson, my neighbor from down the hill, pulled up behind me in his beat-up Subaru, stepped out, sweating bullets. "Cal, what the hell is going on here? I saw the signs." "You selling out nobody," I said. "They're trying to steal it." Buddy looked at the tent, the auctioneer, the SUVs, and muttered, "Well, damn." Then, without missing a beat, offered me a Werther's caramel from his pocket, like that'd fix anything. I called my attorney, told him to get here fast, told him to come loaded with everything. Then I saw the sheriff's cruiser rumble up the drive tires, crunching gravel. Sheriff Hale Gray mustache, tired eyes, 30 years in the job. He stepped out, looked around, sighed like he already regretted getting out of bed. "Linda says she has a court order," he told me, flipping through a folder. $92,000 in dues and fees. Said you were non-compliant." I stared at him. "Sheriff, we're not in her HOA. We never have been. You know that." He shrugged. "Paperwork says otherwise. I gotta treat it as real until a judge tells me different." My hands are tied. That was when I knew the law wasn't gonna save me. Not today. But I didn't come back to be saved. I came back to fight. An hour passed. The auction started. The crowd leaned in excited. The guy on the mic started rattling off fake praises of the property like it was a lakeside vacation home. First bid came in at $400,000, then 5, then 6. For 400 acres of high mountain grazing land, water rights, and structures. They were trying to steal it for pennies. Then came the roar of a V8 engine, loud and fast. Jake showed up, my best friend, my war buddy. Big man, bigger heart. Drove a lifted black Raptor that growled like it had something to say. He parked beside my truck, stepped out, arms inked up, rifle locked in the rack behind his seat. Didn't say much, just gave me a nod and stood by my side. The crowd shifted. Cameras went up. Paddles went down. That's when folks realized this wasn't going to be a normal auction. I walked to my truck, pulled out the old leather folder. Inside was the original deed signed in 1893, notarized in 1932, reaffirmed last year with a county-certified survey. We had never been in Linda's HOA, and I had proof. I stepped onto the auction stage straight past the stuttering auctioneer, held the deed high and said, "You've got your papers. I've got mine. Mine are real." Linda tried to shout me down. "That's just paper. The court order stands." "That court order," I said, "is a forgery, and we're about to prove it." Right on cue, my lawyer Greg pulled up in a dusty sedan, still in his courthouse shoes. He marched straight to the sheriff and handed him a document. Case number on her order belongs to a traffic violation from Denver. Not a property lien. Not even the same county. Linda turned pale. Then Greg dropped the hammer. The notary seal on her order expired. The notary deceased. She notarized her court order with a ghost. The crowd gasped. Even the sheriff's eyes widened. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse for Linda, Greg pointed to the lead bidder, a smug guy in a tailored suit, and said, "That man bidding, registered agent of Mountain Trace Holdings, owned by Robert Greaves, Linda's husband. It wasn't just fraud. It was conspiracy. A plot to seize my land using fake documents and a shell company. Her plan was to auction it, buy it herself, and flip it for millions. Sheriff Hale had enough. 'Linda Greaves,' he said, 'you're under arrest.'" But Linda wasn't done. She lunged for the auctioneer's gavel, slammed it down, and screamed, "Sold sale is final. Nope, not on my land." I turned and walked calmly into my house, picked up my father's old Winchester Model 94, loaded one round, walked back outside. No shouting, no threats. I raised it toward the back berm we'd used for sighting rifles for years, aimed high and fired once. The shot echoed through the canyon like thunder. The crowd scattered. Linda dropped the gavel and hit the ground. Her clipboard went flying. Robert ran for the Mercedes. Sheriff Hale holstered his sidearm and radioed for backup. "Scene secure," he muttered. We rolled up the tent, tore down the signs, hauled the toilets to the road, erased every sign she was ever there. As the sun dipped behind the ridge, Jake handed me a beer, and Buddy raised a toast. "To your dad," he said. I nodded. To home. Because no matter what anyone says, some things ain't for sale, not at any price. Now I want to know, what would you have done if someone tried to steal your home while you were burying your father? Was I wrong to stand my ground like that? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about what justice really looks like.